everyone, it's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are watching God, Sex, and Love. Friends, I am so excited to share with you all today that I am interviewing Miss Therez Fleetwood. Not only is she an awesome couture bridal designer and the owner of Luxury Romance Concierge, but she is also the author of this book right here, which is called Black Men and Intimacy. So we're gonna have a chat about her new book, as well as maybe some other goodies and see what else we can learn from her while she's here. So if you're ready to sit back and chat with Miss Therez Fleetwood, then stay tuned. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to God, Sex, and Love. As I said to you all, we have Therez Fleetwood in the building. Hey, Miss Fleetwood.
Hey.
Yes. She's a woman that does so many things. A Renaissance woman, as they say.
Thank you. I like that. Yes, thank you.
But I guess first we'll start talking about this wonderful book right here, Black Men and Intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, let's start it off. So what made you write this wonderful book?
You know, what made me write Black Men and Intimacy, Voices from Across the Diaspora, was really my own journey through self-intimacy. I was married, I got divorced, and I couldn't point my finger at my ex-husband. I had to take a look at what did I do wrong in this relationship. So on my journey of self-intimacy, I came across an interview with Iyanla Vanzant, and she had a panel of men, and they got on the subject of intimacy. And one man said, well, men think intimacy is sex. And I was like, okay, if this is true, we as women, we are doomed because we are more emotional with intimacy. So I said, you know what, let me take it upon myself, interview these men, 50 men, across 5 generations. And I wanted to know really, very first question, what is intimacy to you? And you know, the funny thing is a lot of these men never even thought about what intimacy is, you know, because a lot of times when we hear the word, we automatically think that it's sex, that it's physical. But there's so many different aspects to intimacy. There's emotional intimacy, intellectual intimacy, spiritual intimacy, physical intimacy, and at least 4 other types of intimacy as well. So the answers that the men gave really resonate with their life experiences and how they view intimacy. And I wanted to really put all of this information together for women, for Black women, to really understand our men, because we know that there's a communication, a disconnect happening between us, you know, whether we're single, whether we're in relationships, or whether we're married. And I really wanted this book to be that catalyst that people can use for conversation. You know, you can open up the book with all these 15 chapters and find a chapter that resonates with where you are in your life right now. And the thing about this book, I didn't write it as a theoretical analysis. I didn't try to stereotype these men or put them in a group. I just wanted them to talk. Really just to share without any interruptions, without, you know, interjecting my opinion, because my opinion was not important in writing this book. It was all about the men. So this is really one-on-one personal interviews with Black men from ages 26 to 66. So that's how the book came along.
Wow, it is awesome, friends. I know as I was reading it, I just found it very interesting to hear what these different men had to say about these questions and things like that. I'm not going to reveal all the information. Y'all got to read the book yourself. But the main thing it made me do was to really, really think about, like, okay, putting my husband in these shoes and being like, I need to ask him these questions, or, you know, I really wanted to know like his particular perspective in general. Because I think the thing that I've learned over the years is that, okay, all men are different, you know, they look at things different way. And this book is, you know, kind of proof of that as well, that, you know, they all had different responses to these questions and stuff. So I really, for me, it just was like, I really need to get to know my man and like what he feels about these questions and more, you know. So
yeah, exactly. And these questions really do primarily focus on 3 levels of intimacy, and that's emotional intimacy, intellectual intimacy, and physical intimacy. And, when you really get somebody to open up, or authentically, and really wanting to share their views, because one thing that, several of the guys have mentioned to me, but one of the men in the book said, listen, we're all so distinctly different. We're constantly being categorized. As a Black man, we're constantly being categorized, to be a certain way. But my life experience is different from the next man's life experience. So they were happy to be able to share their views in this way. And I love that you are reading it with your husband, because one of the ways that I tell women, especially, to use the book is, as you're reading, say to your husband or your significant other, hey, baby, I'm reading this chapter on love or intimacy or communication, whatever chapter you're on. And this man says this about communication, about love. What are your feelings? How would you answer this question? And a lot of times I find it gives them permission to really say, well, first of all, wait, what is he saying? Well, no, I don't agree with that. Oh, you don't agree? How would you answer it? Or I kind of agree with him, kind of. What else would you add? This book, when I say a catalyst for conversation, use these questions to probe more and to get more information out of your husband or out of your significant other, because that's really why it was written. Because I find, especially my work as a romance concierge, one of the biggest things is couples have the hardest time, having conversations about what they need or what they want more of in their marriage or their relationship. We're just not taught to have these type of conversations. On one hand, you think about having a conversation about sex. To some people, it's taboo. Oh no, I can't say this. You are with, and especially when you're in a marriage, you are forming a covenant with your husband. This is not a contract where you can say, what, if it doesn't work out, then we're out of here. This is a covenant. And then that space of building that covenant, couples need to really find that space and that energy to really connect and communicate together. So that's one of the big reasons why I did write this book, so that couples can feel comfortable having these conversations together.
Exactly. That's the reason why I started this platform as well, because I feel like, for whatever reason, I this is like a Bible-based Christian platform. But I feel as if Christians they don't talk about sex, or it's like brushed under the rug, or intimacy, or all of these things, right? And it's like, we need to open up and talk more, because holding it all in doesn't help or anything. And then you just see all these different things happen when you don't communicate. So I love that you did this with the book. And also, I don't know if we switching gears already. It just made me go ahead and think about your game that I was playing.
Yes, I love my game. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay.
And I was playing with hubby. It's called Into Me See.
Tell me, I'm very curious what your experience was with the game, playing with your husband. I like to get feedback and testimonials from my clients. So tell me what yours was.
Yeah, for sure. So basically the thing that this led to for us was like very open dialogue. Like, we didn't get a chance to play every single card, but we're definitely interested in, like, not only because we kind of tag team between the two. We was like, I draw a card, you draw a card, like that. So we're interested to, like, do it again, but do with the opposite cards, so we could get the other side of the answer from each other. But that day, it led to a lot of laughs. It led to a lot of communication that day. It led to, just opening up and just really just answering the question and just really being in that moment together and everything like that. So we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
And I'm curious, when you told your husband about it, was he interested in playing, or was he like, okay, what is this? What are you talking about? Like, what was his feedback when you asked him about the game?
Well, okay, so the interesting thing was, it was one of the weekends where my son was with his nana. So it was just me and him, which is wow. So it was just me and him. We were here, whatever, and I was like, let's get some breakfast and then let's play this game. And he's like, Okay. Yeah. Okay. He didn't know what the game was or anything like that. He just like, I was like, well, when I first presented it, I was like, okay, hey, do you want to play a game? He's like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I told him, yeah, let's get breakfast and let's play a game. And so then we had like this Zoom meeting to attend. So after we did that, I was like, okay, I really want to play the game now because I don't want to think about what we just talked about in the Zoom meeting. So I was like, let's really do this. And so eventually, as we played the game, we ended up opening up a bottle of wine. And
yeah. And I love that. I love that. And I know there was another couple who bought the cards, and when I got her testimonial, she said she had them in the bag, the satin bag, for about 3 months before she played. And she said she mentioned it to her husband, and as soon as she mentioned the word intimacy, he kind of, you know, clammed up, like, well, what are you talking about? What is this? What is this? I don't know. You know, he was hesitant. But as soon as they started playing, he was actually more into the game than she was. He wanted to answer the question. He wanted to play more. He wanted to talk more. So you never know. Like when something new is introduced to us in a relationship and we're not familiar with it or comfortable with it, our first reaction is to say, wait a minute, hold on. I don't know. Let me see. But then the game is a lot of fun. And when you can sit back and learn about your significant other in the way by simply, again, non-threatening, picking a card, knowing that we're just playing a game. Because some of these questions you do want to ask outside of the game, but the game gives you permission to ask those questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And the thing for me was like, some of his answers were surprising. I'm like, really? Like, oh, okay. Well, I could have sworn you was going to answer this a totally different way. So, and there were some questions that, you know, were in my mind to ask him, and they were on the cards, and I was like, that is convenient, cool, you know. So I enjoyed the game. Like I said, we need to finish up the cards. So that's one thing. We got like, I think we got maybe 75%. So we got like more cards to do, and then I was like, we want to switch them and do them where it's like, did you answer that question last time? Okay, now I'm going to answer it. You know that.
Yeah, and here's the thing too with the cards. When I created these cards, I took a year of reading as many books I could from, you know, relationship therapists, from sex therapists, just gathering, you know, relationship counselors to see what are appropriate questions to put on a card for couples to answer. I didn't want the general questions like so many cards say, well, what will you do if you have 10 days left to live? Or, you know, what's your favorite food? Yeah, I wanted to really get intimate. These are very intimate questions. And here's the thing, there's no rush for them. You know what I mean? We get excited because you're learning more. This is exciting for both of you. And also, I want to make sure that when you both share your answers with each other, that you also acknowledge that. Whatever, this gives them the chance to say, you got it, you understand, or I didn't quite mean it that way. And that's also just a part of communicating together. Because when we are heard and acknowledged from the other person, and we know that they got what we said, then that makes us feel comfortable in that space of wanting to communicate more. And I think so many times in relationships, it gets lost in translation, basically what the other person is trying to say. So make sure that when you do play the game, I don't know if you read the instructions, but make sure you repeat back to him and he does the same for you. And then, are you kissing each other after each question? Because you know, after you answer the question, you're supposed to give each other a kiss.
I love that part. Like, I love, well, not just the kiss. Now, I'm saying I'm loving both those parts. That, you know, the part where you're saying back to them what they said. I love that part, and then I love that, you know, the reward at the end of the kiss. Because there was sometimes where if I felt like he didn't answer the question right, we pretty much kissed each other every time. But at the same time, like, you get a half a kiss for that one.
I love it.
So much fun. It was fun. It was really a lot of fun. And I'm excited to share this with other couples and, you know, just see what other people think and everything like that. Friends, if you guys want to, you know, get intimate with your spouse, things like that, questions, things like that, Check out luxury romance concierge.com, and also the book as well, Miss Fleetwood, and the book.
It's all about communicating. It's all about just really getting to know each other and understand it, because it's the biggest thing missing in relationships. We stop communicating. Maybe sometimes because we think the other person already knows, or maybe we think what we have to say isn't important, or a lot of times we're just not used to communicating. It's the only way. And what I always tell couples to do as a romance concierge, I'm big on date nights. You have to schedule time once a week, one day a week, for couples to really come together. I don't care if you can only find an hour. I know you have a son. I think he's 1, or how old is your son?
Yeah, he's 1.
Yeah. You put him to bed. I don't know. You put him to bed probably around 8 or 9 o'clock, right? You have, if you say, listen, hubby, we got an hour. This is our date night. It's Thursday night. It's 9 o'clock. We have an hour that we're committing together for this. And a lot of times I say this, people like, oh my God, when am I going to find the time? You find the time to get your nails done. You find the time to get your car washed. You find the time to do all these extracurricular activities. Now, I know we're busy with work. I know couples are busy raising children. I know that our lives are busy. But instead of sitting down and catching up on reruns on what you saw on Amazon Prime or whatever network, say, wait, an hour. If you have to set the timer and say, tonight we're gonna, focus on sensual massage, or we're going to focus on a new sexual position, or let's experiment with bondage and submission, or let me teach you how I really like to be massaged and touched. See, I operate on the 3T principle: talk, touch, and teach. So if you start off your date nights, and again, it's best if it's the same day at the same time every week, because some people say, well, I don't want to plan. Why do we have to plan to be intimate? Well, there's 2 levels of intimacy. There's a physical intimacy. It's not always about, I can say this on your show because we're grown, penetration. You know what I mean? It's sometimes just about hugging and massaging and kissing and cuddling. See, if we remove the end goal from physical sex, like the end goal is that we are going to penetrate and have sex. If we remove that and just say, tonight it's all about being physical together, we have this whole body of skin, head to toe, that could be explored. You know what I mean? It's like, so when you operate in that space and talk, you have to get together and talk about it without shame, without judgment, with curiosity, with understanding each other. That's where it begins. First date night you schedule, very first one, hey, what are we going to plan together? And you get excited. Well, okay, miraculous, you got the first date night plan, and I'm going to plan the second week, and you plan the third week, because then you start finding out, and when you're in that space of planning these nights, you get excited. It's like, okay, what can I do? And then talk. So touch, just learn touch, whether it's a feather, across the skin, whether it's a leather paddle, that you want to use, whether it's just your hands. Again, the whole body. You can even do a massage, focus on the feet, focus on the buttocks, focus on the breasts. It doesn't have to be a whole body massage. And here's the thing, I remember talking to a couple, and the woman said, well, I don't really like the way he massages me. I don't want him to touch me. I said, then teach him. That's the last T. Teach. Talk, touch, and teach. Hey, baby, can you go a little lighter here? Or can you give me a little more pressure here? Because, if you knew that your spouse or significant other, when they touched you, and if they knew how to touch you correctly, you get excited. You're like, ooh, Thursday night, date night, it's my night. I know I'm going to get a good massage. I don't know what happens afterwards, but I know, and we all need it. I think that's what we're missing as people, as couples, that intimate touch that doesn't always lead to sex. Just touching and breathing and connecting together.
That's good. Like, I don't all of this friends, but I co-signed. I told him I'm gonna make some shirts to say more married sex. Like, cause
yes!
I feel like
I love it. And that's it.
People are connecting, especially once they get married. It's like this taboo thing, and it's like, why? This is when you.
And it shouldn't be. Yeah, and it shouldn't be taboo. I mean, you're married now. This gives you the perfect opportunity to play full out. It's just what I think couples need to do is stop judging themselves so much, trusting that this person that they're married to or this person with, they love them. They want to see them have the most fulfilling sexual life. I mean, I remember one of the guys I interviewed, he's like, you know, before I got married, I had sex all the time. As soon as I got married and wanted to try new things, she started calling me a pervert, which broke his spirit. So it's like you using kind words, exploring together, talking about, hey, baby, I didn't know you wanted to do that. I thought about doing that too. And again, this is why date nights are so important, because sometimes it's hard to find that time during the day, during the week, when you can just sit down and have these conversations. But if you know Thursday at 9 o'clock, here it comes. Listen, I got a list of things I want to talk to you about, because after playing this game with you, when you said this, oh my God, it opened up so much. And we have to keep it exciting and be in that space of it really being exciting for us, because only we can create our love lives. And the thing is, there's so much information out here for us. We just have to commit. That's it. You have to commit. Very first step, you have to make a commitment to each other. If you don't make a commitment to each other, Thursday night would turn into Wednesday night, would turn into Friday night. Nope. Thursday night or a date night, whatever, that's it. So it's finding that time, because when you commit, it lets that other person know that they're wanted and they're needed and they're valued. Who doesn't want to feel that in a relationship? And it gives you permission to laugh and be silly and have fun and say, oh, wait a minute, you didn't like the way I used that feather on your arm? Let me see if I use it on your back. Now, the back, you know what I mean? You get to teach each other and explain, play together. And once you discover these new erotic spots, you know, on your body, or erotic fantasies together, you can't wait. You'll be like, woo, Thursday's coming. Tuesday night, you'll already be planning everything. You're like, I can't wait. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is missing from a lot of relationships. It's that anticipation of what's to come.
That is like, I feel like in regards to my husband, we do need to do a little better with date nights, because it's like, well, every now and then do a little something, but not necessarily full on planned out date nights or anything like that. So,
here's what I say, right? Doing my research, only 50% of couples say that they plan date nights. Only 50%. And of those 50%, I have my statistics here, but a very small percentage actually plans date nights every week. Okay, so if you know that that this is something that you're going to commit to, you know, really have fun with it. It's like everything that you do as a couple. My motto is for my company is couples need playtime too. Okay, we send the kids out for play dates and everything else. We need to tap back into who we are and start playing and laughing some more together. Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I guess I was going to ask, even though, I mean, all of that's so good, I didn't even know if it was. But well, I guess there was two questions. Like, one, I was going to ask, like, what was the most shocking thing do you feel like, well, unless it's too much to tell, if it's too much in the book.
No.
That you learned, or maybe more shocking or more thing that you're like, wow, I really did not know this, and I learned it throughout the process of the book. That was one question I was going to ask.
All right, so the most shocking thing, I've been talking to men and women for years. This is just what I do as a romance concierge. I used to be an adult toy educator. So I've been talking to men and women about relationships and sex and communication for probably about 10 years. So nothing really shocks me when I have conversation. But one of the things I would probably say that surprised me the most was the chapter on, what chapter is it? The chapter on do women appreciate men? Do Black men feel that Black women appreciate them? And some of the answers that were given there, it was most shocking for me, because a lot of Black men don't feel as if they are appreciated by Black women. And I did not think that that was what they were going to share. And probably, is anything else? Nothing else shocking. What I really love is that these men really did come and play full out. They were interviewed under the guise of anonymity. So they were really free with what they had to say. And the interesting thing is, some of these guys I interviewed under the guise of anonymity, I just interviewed them again live, and the answers were completely different than the answers in the book. The answers in the book, they were raw. This time when they're live, they were a little more reserved answering the questions. So, yes. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, now I guess this last thing can be about, either the book or the games or any of your many endeavors, If there's just anything you want to share with this audience right now, what would that be, Miss Fleetwood? Just anything you want to share.
I just want to share really the importance of making time for each other. I mean, really, really like drilling it in how important it is, because when couples, especially married couples, walk down the aisle and they say I do, and they commit to each other, they don't walk down the aisle saying, okay, if it works out, that's it. You really go in believing that this is going to work. This is my mate for life. But we get caught up in life. Life becomes mundane. Sex becomes boring. But here's the thing. We can't blame anybody but ourselves. We have to take responsibility for keeping things alive and fresh in our relationships. And I think if we go into relationships and marriages saying, okay, let's make sure we set aside the time, for each other, aside, along with everything else I have to do. And even if you have children, let them know, this is mommy and daddy's date night. They don't need to know what you're doing, but in the kids' mind, they'll be like, oh, they're coming together. That's beautiful. They're playing, they're laughing. Mommy and daddy have date night. You know what I mean? It's like, so just really intentionally creating that in their in couples' lives. So that's probably what I would say would be most important.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Be intentional, y'all.
Intentional.
Well, I could chat with you about this all night. I don't want to belong your time, but I would like to say thank you so much, Ms. Fleetwood, for your time. And
we have to do this again.
We totally do. We totally do. Well, friends, if you guys want to learn more about Miss Fleetwood, where can they go, Miss Fleetwood?
LuxuryRomanceConcierge.com.
There you go. Intimacy. Black men and intimacy. All right, you all. Well, thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks for having me.
Hello everyone, it's your girl Miracle Sims, and you already know that your girl is now an author, and my very first publication is none other than a creation inspired by the juice. That's right, friends, you can go on Amazon.com and find the Juice 30-day Bible study journal. And this, friends, I hope and pray will help you create your own Bible study experience similar to the one that your girl here shares with you every day here on God, Sex, and Love.